welcome to the Baldwin Kids Podcast, a space dedicated to discussing politics, nerd culture, and mental health.
But today, we're drinking and answering questions.
That's right. It's kind of a way for you all to get to know us a little better before we get into the heavy nonsense going on in Washington and all other, bigwig
and
locations.
And the church and the all them places where everything's just going so well right now.
Now, before I was so rudely interrupted,
whatever beach.
For those who want to know, you can call me Kay.
I'm Vesta.
And you know what? Let's just dive in.
Whoa, we gonna dive in.
You are already doing a lot. So, instead of our usual format of talking about politics, mental health, and a few dashes of nerd culture, like I said, we're going to be doing something similar to 20 questions, where I'll ask Vesta a question, or I'll be asked a question, and, each one of us can answer the same question, and we'll move on from there.
Mm-hmm.
So
who goes first? Me, because I interrupted?
Yeah,
okay.
Go ahead.
Well, let's see. What job would you be terrible at?
Retail.
Oh, my job.
Yeah, I used to work retail. Most of my first few jobs were retail, but now that I've been working where I don't have to deal with people on a regular basis, my bitch quotient has increased dramatically to a point where I don't mask my expressions when people are saying things that I don't like.
Right. Just shade my occupation.
Oh no, I'm not gonna shade it. I'm just saying I'm too much of a bitch for it.
Accurate. I mean, I feel like I'm too much of a bitch for it sometimes too. I get some stank faces sometimes.
Yeah, but you can engage that code switch voice. Hi, welcome.
Hello. Did you find everything okay?
Oh,
that is super. Did you want to apply for a credit card that you don't need right now?
Oh God.
Okay.
I remember that.
Mine. I would suck at being a teacher. Because being a teacher, for any age range, requires so much patience that I have none of, and have had none of for like the past 10 years of my life. I couldn't do it.
And see, that's the funny thing, is that I actually, at some point, want to be a teacher.
Yeah. Are you going to tell them about your English majoring and how fantastic you are at just sprechen the English?
Well, I would, but you already did the job for me.
Okay.
Upstaging bitch. Anyway. All right, fine. My turn.
Mm-hmm.
What fictional place would you most like to go?
Ooh, Jesus. You see, I spend most of my free time in mystical places anyway. I don't know. I'm tied between living in like the Marvel universe, even though your chances of dying in that universe are like tenfold because something cataclysmic always happens. Like, that movie just came out about Whalmer the Pokemon, and how he made a gauntlet with all the, infinity.
Okay.
I mean, I would hate to die in the MCU.
You are really doing a lot right now. You are really doing a lot right now. We're only on the second question.
I would have to say, honestly, I'd rather live in, I don't know what you're going to say, is the Macross universe. The old school 80s anime that gave way for... Well, I can't say gave way. That anime was like inspired by one piece of a short story, and I need to go back and find the title of it. But Gundam was all the space mecha animes of the 80s were, because on top of almost every pilot in there being male, but then the people above them are just like bad bitches, almost all women calling the shots, and the main bitch in that show. Fucking Lin Min Mei, the baddest bitch in the game. Okay. In the game.
So for those who don't know, Vesta's your friendly neighborhood Min Mei stan.
Yes, Min Mei and her eternal 12-year-old voice. You know that bitch is like 50 and still sounds the same. Like exactly the same. Mm-hmm. They say black don't crack, but I don't know. Asians got some like...
Don't do this. Don't do this.
Like they were just born in the womb of Fountain of Youth.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, So my answer for that same question. Wait, you know what? Let me add one facet to that question.
Okay.
If you could have the abilities of the people in that fictional place.
That changes my whole answer, but
But let me answer mine. I would probably pick the Harry Potter universe. Just because, bitch, I'm magic. What are you gonna do about it?
Bitch, I is magic. I do not need to hear from you right now.
I can just, cast something and silence you and walk away, and you can be mad about it.
Test me or see if I don't Expelliarmus your edges off your scalp.
Now, see, you and I both know that's just going to knock somebody's wand out and not knock somebody out.
I mean, their wand or their edges, depending on the intent.
Anyway, what about you if you had the abilities of that same universe?
It would have to be back to Marvel, probably.
Which hero then?
I would be one of the X-Men for sure. Because, being queer and black, I'm used to taking bullshit for being what I am already.
Yeah, but you probably would take it. You could take it less if you could, just pull a storm and just.
True, just be like, excuse me.
Excuse me, lightning.
Me and my perfectly gelled down edges are not here for your nonsense.
Storm's perfect silk press.
Like, excuse me. These bundles cost too much for you to be talking shit to me right now.
Okay. So we're moving on.
Okay.
Your turn.
My turn. Let's see. Are you usually early to a function or late?
I plead the fifth.
Ooh, black people always late.
Come on, CPT and gay standard time.
I have to be honest, I'm always early to places.
Yeah, but that's because you don't drive.
Wow, just call me out like that. You right. You shouldn't have to call me out like that. But yeah, I'm usually late. Oh, I don't know what that was.
Anyway.
Okay, the devil. But I don't remember what I was gonna say now. I don't know what the fuck that noise was. I usually am early to places just because I always hate the idea of being late. Like, being late to places irks me so bad.
So I've actually got a funny story related to that and gay standard time. At the Chicago Pride Parade a couple years back, I'm not gonna go into too many details. I don't know if they want all of their business out there like that. But long story short, somebody organizing one of the floats told the people to arrive an hour earlier than their actual proper arrival time to try to counteract gay standard time.
I hate to say this. I've done that to my aunt and my mother before.
Oh, Jesus.
Where I'm like, hey, Mom, I really got to be at this job interview. I was like 16. I really got to be at this job interview. But I have to be there at 2:30. Knowing damn well I didn't have to be there until 4:15. Because my mama, I love you, Mom. You take way too long to get ready to go places sometimes. So we didn't leave until about 2:15. And it was about 45 minutes away.
Oh, God. Oh, you know what? Before we continue, we didn't really say too much about ourselves other than jumping right into the questions.
We sure didn't. And that's really irresponsible. So since you brought it up, why don't you go first?
Okay, put me on the spot like that. So I'm sure some of you hearing this already know me. For those who don't, I am overworked, underpaid, a power lifter / strongman. My last big thing was pulling the largest size U-Haul truck that you can rent. That's a 20,000 pound gross. I don't know what the actual weight of the actual truck is, but I can pull, around 20,000 pounds. I also dabble in art, writing, acting, singing occasionally.
Occasionally in my left titty. Go on.
Okay, so call me out like that. Anyway, I'm also an aspiring English major and an occasional writer. Your turn.
Well, y'all know me already. I'm the baddest bitch thus far. No, I'm just kidding. Well, we have a lot that's similar because I'm a theater baby too. I haven't been as into it as I used to be. I used to be real active in this group back in LA called AGC. It was headed by Wendy Raquel Robinson and Denise Dowse and a lot of amazingly talented women of color and men of color. But I write short stories, poetry, long fan fictions, because, you know, I still haven't left that phase yet. We were all fan fictioners at one point in our lives. I make music. I taught myself when I was about, I want to say 15 or 16. I started with house music because music has always been in my life, especially with my father. Has like this extensive vinyl collection that I inherited from him, and so music has always been important. But it wasn't until I saw or listened to Daft Punk's live tour when they toured in 07, and I was like, you know what, yeah, this is what I want to do, like hardcore. And I looked up, oh, they used Ableton, okay, and I sat down with Ableton that was the worst mistake I ever made in my life because I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Yeah, for those who don't know, this program is almost terrifying.
Yeah, we're staring at it right now as it's recording. It's just really intimidating to look at, especially you, because now you're just like, excuse me, what's happening?
Yeah, I'll just pick up a guitar and start strumming. Meanwhile, this has like 20,000 buttons to
right, just to get this set up, you were just sitting there like, oh, okay, what's happening?
Pretty much.
The music that you guys should be hearing, hopefully, is I made it. I made most of it. We'll have a couple people contribute to music here and there,
including yours truly,
including him over there. What else?
I think that might be enough for now.
Super gay. My parents like to nitpick that I'm half white, which I'm pretty much am at this point in my life, finding out, but I'm still black as shit. Yeah, all that good shit.
Meanwhile, I'm the polar opposite. I did a DNA test a couple years back and found out I'm like 90% West African. Yeah. So there's that.
Like,
actually met a couple of cousins on Facebook doing that too.
Like a solid 90%. Meanwhile, I'm like 60-40, I think, or 70-30. Yeah, 70-30.
But, still black.
Still black as hell.
Anyway, shall we return to the questions?
Back to the questions.
Whose turn was it?
I think it was my turn.
Okay.
No, wait. Didn't I ask one? I don't remember. Because I asked, earlier late.
Oh, right. So it is my turn. Okay. When people come to you for help, what do they usually want help with?
Oh my God. Fucking relationship problems. Every single time. It's either something about music that's real vague that I can answer, or it's really like hardcore, deep-rooted problems that they want my advice on.
Where you're going to be on like a phone call or a Skype session until 3, 4, 5 in the morning?
Yeah, or I'll just be there in person over Dr. Filling them until they get the point. I've done that multiple times.
Get real.
Bitch, no, I'm drinking.
Oh, Jesus.
I want you to get excited about your life.
Okay, are you trying to be Dr. Fillery, Yama? Because
you know what? Fight me.
Because look at your life. Anyway.
Look at your life. Look at your life from heavens.
Anyway, before we get into a whole musical break,
because we will get ready, y'all.
Oh dear,
there'll be a test at the end of the podcast.
Anyway, for me, the majority of the time is, hey, can you help us lift this thing? And my response is usually, yeah, I guess.
Bitch.
Like, I'm not a piece of meat. I'm more than just my strength.
It's true.
Like, I honestly miss when I was in high school and my first stint in college, where people would ask me to help them edit their papers and such. Because, I mean, I don't really use the term anymore, but at the time I was a proud and self-proclaimed grammar Nazi. Yeah, gross. I know, but
The grammar Nazi. Oh no.
Can you not?
Problematic.
Can you not? Anyway, but I do still take pride in, helping people edit their papers, edit their stories, fix formatting, fix, pretty much anything of that nature.
Sidebar, this bitch has like some amazing writing skill. He really does. Yeah, huh? Sigh all you want to.
Okay, fine.
He sent me like 4 paragraphs of a story he was writing. I'm like, bitch, I couldn't write like this with 4 more years in college. What kind of magic? So, anyway, is it my turn for the next question?
Indeed it is.
All right. Let's see. What TV channel doesn't exist but really should? Like, what do we need on television right now?
Something fucking original.
Ooh. I mean, to be fair, there is like some very few original or anything on TV, honestly.
Yeah, but how many remakes have been announced and teased and come up with, and I'm
reimagining.
I'm so tired. Like
there's 34 Carries from Stephen King. There's 2 It's now.
How many Spider-Man movies are there now?
Actually, you know what? There's
5,
There's
6.
3 Sam Raimi, 2 of that one bitch I don't care about, and Homecoming. So that's 6.
That's 6.
And then they've announced the 7th one, technically.
Exactly.
Which is, I mean,
like, superheroes are great, I guess, but can we get more stories about, not white men?
Ooh, sip the real tea. Hold on. I mean, this isn't tea. This is screwdriver, but still.
No, but still, like,
it's true.
Can we?
The most recent, like, show that has a predominantly or a main character or characters that are of color or black that I've seen recently is Cloak and Dagger. And I know people are gonna be like, "What about Luke Cage?" But I've never heard of that show before. If you'd like to tell me what drag show she's performing at, let me know, because I've never heard of Miss Luke. I don't really see it for her trash drag name, honestly. But
for those who don't know, and I'm sure this will come up in another episode in the near future, but Mike Coulter, at least for us, has been officially canceled thanks to his reaction to what happened at Aretha Franklin's funeral. Now, normally we don't...
Aretha's 2-day funeral.
Where she rocked the Louboutins the whole time. Anyway,
but back to the
he already had some disgusting commentary about trans people previously, and then had more disgusting commentary about what happened with Ariana Grande.
Poor fucking Ariana, who was just there,
who was 4 feet up. She was trying her best.
She
had
was doing
sound
her
issues.
Best. Like that's like an honor to be like, yo, we need you to sing at Aretha Franklin's funeral, sir.
You know what? Before I go all the way in.
Yeah, we gonna go all the way. Y'all can wait for that one.
Because long story short, y'all ain't shit.
Ooh. And y'all gonna get hit.
Anyway.
So, yeah. Something original on TV.
And before we lose listeners 20 minutes into the first episode, when I say y'all ain't shit, I mean the people who are blaming Ariana for wearing that dress.
Oh my God.
Even though she dresses like that 99% of the time.
99% of the time. And I'm like, regardless of whether she does or not, that's no reason to sit there and be like, well, I mean, had she not,
yeah,
that's the reason. Anyway, back to that question we asked. Something original was your answer, but I agree, we need more people of color on TV. Especially, like, not stereotypical. We need some more fucking Moonlights. Mm-hmm. We need some more fucking Cloak and Daggers.
And we need less of, as much as I love her, what was it, Regina King? Regina Hall? Regina King.
Yeah.
Her character in the Scary Movie series.
Yeah.
Like, I love her.
That was some of the funniest shit for the early 2000s.
But the thing is that she's a constant stereotype.
Yeah. And she's not acting anymore because that's all that people would ever want her for.
Yeah,
It's
typecasting.
that ridiculous ass black woman that people can laugh at.
Well, that and the voices of the twins in Boondocks.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Wait, are they twins?
I think so. Yeah, close enough. I think they are twins. Hugh and Riley.
Anyway, moving on.
But my answer to that would be, how about can we get like a good, like, what is that called? The like really long, the really long fucking infomercials, like the infomercial channels. We need some, but for some fucking black, we need some. Look here, bitch. We ain't fronting with you. Here's some organic coconut oil with some shea butter. It'll make your ass glow. They got a melanated woman on the screen, before and after, like weeks apart, and not with like airbrush Photoshop effects. We need some black-owned jewelry. We need some black-owned fashion. We need a whole ass fucking run by black people, because
BET.
white people like to throw out BET all the time.
Even though that's owned by Viacom.
Me. Yeah, Viacom don't give two fucks about what. Ooh, my lord.
Anyway, is it my turn or yours?
It's your turn.
Okay. What are some small things that make your day better?
Small things that make my day better. Waking up on time. No. It's weird to say, but given the nature of because I go to community college. So, because I have to take multiple classes, I usually get up early in the morning. Being able to get up one day and make yourself some breakfast and enjoy it.
Okay.
That's like a big thing for me, because I used to miss being able to do that. It kind of reminds me of like my mother, back in the day when my little sister were in school. She used to make us breakfast. Like, she'd be up earlier than we were, have breakfast on the table by the time we're up and dressed and stuff, and take us to school. It kind of brings me back to like comfort almost. Being able to. That's sad though. Not being able to say you can like cook. You have time to eat in the morning.
Yeah, welcome to being a millennial. No. We're generation. Wait. You know what?
QRS-TV, WXYZ.
Anyway.
What about you?
Catching a long string of green lights while driving.
Man. I don't even drive, and I can relate to that, because that's like a magical.
But also,
experience.
getting new tools at work. I forgot to mention earlier that my primary job is carpentry. I mostly make acrylic countertops, but it's always a good day whenever we get new tools. And I don't know why, but it is.
It reminds me of, totally not related, but at Legoland we used to have to deal with that. I used to work at Legoland, mind y'all. That don't do it. But I'm just kidding. You guys know I love you guys at Legoland.
Wait, can we say that? Can we say that?
I already did. Just kidding. I love working at Legoland. The one thing that always irked me when I used to work there was sometimes they really let the bricks, like it's like big play sets where a bunch of kids can play with bricks and shit. But they used to wear down because, hundreds and thousands of kids are touching them every month. Mm-hmm. And so they wear down and they don't stick. And if someone built something, it would immediately fall apart. Getting a new shipment of like fresh Lego bricks in was the most magical shit ever, because it wasn't hard to clean up and it wasn't hard to take down, and yeah.
Okay.
Totally related to your carpentry. Just absolutely related.
I mean, you're still kind of building things.
True.
It's new materials.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, it's my turn. Woo.
Oh, and before Vesta finds his question, we'll probably also keep peppering little bits and pieces about us as we go along.
Yeah, because it's real hard to we know ourselves, most of us, but it's really hard to know yourself in the moment of having to talk about yourself.
Especially when you're being recorded.
Yeah, we're just watching that wavelength go right now. It's really hard, so bear with us on that. But my question is, These are some weird questions. Where's the farthest you ever been from home? Farthest you've been from home?
I would probably have to do a Google search, like a Google Maps check, just to see. But I'm guessing Florida is going to be the farthest.
I was going to say Florida for me, but I think New York is a little further.
Well, yeah, but which home are you counting? Are you counting here?
True. Or? I used to live in California, and I've only been in the Chicago area for, like 7 months now? I think 7 months.
Something like
December, January, February, March, April, May, June. 8 months. Longer than that. Woo! So I've been up here for like 8 months, but furthest from California would be Florida for me. Because then furthest from here would probably be New York. Because I just went from, DC, Washington, DC, sorry. DC is the furthest I've been.
I thought New York was further.
It's from DC?
No.
DC is near Virginia.
No, I'm saying from Chicago to New York is further than from Chicago to DC.
Is it?
Something like that. It's a marginal difference.
I was gonna say, like, it's literally a couple states away, isn't it? It's like a straight shot. Like,
we don't have a map in front of us. Do not at me.
Yeah, at us. I dare you. I will snatch the wig off your head. Do it. I dare you.
I will just massage my block button.
Just caress.
Anyway, but yeah, it's a toss-up for me. Sheer distance-wise is definitely Florida. When I, again, during my first stint in college, I actually went on tour with my choir, but ended up down in Florida, right by the Gulf of Mexico, and I actually still have some of the white sand from there.
How did you keep that? I know sand never comes out when you wash your clothes. But.
I ended up accidentally buying an extra travel bottle for toiletries, and then was on the beach and was like, you know what? Let me just get something for the memories.
For the memories.
But overall travel time wise would have to be Montreal. My ex and I actually drove up from Chicago, up past. Don't do that.
Don't do what? Montreal.
Yes. Drove from Chicago up through Michigan, stopped by the Niagara Falls, and then tried to make our way to Montreal, where we got blindsided with about 2 feet of snow.
Man, you were just telling me about that. I'm like, ooh, in March.
Yeah, about 26 hours of driving.
Oh my God, that's a lot of driving.
Hence why that
travel time.
Travel time wise, that's
travel
the furthest.
I don't know. Travel time wise, I don't think I've ever really driven anywhere further than Los Angeles to. No, probably. Los Angeles to the Bay Area, because I lived in both parts of California. I used to go back and forth all the time. I think driving, that's like the furthest I've driven somewhere. Let's see.
My turn now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Okay. So the question says, what TV show or movie do you refuse to watch? But I'm going to expand it slightly and say, what media do you refuse to consume?
What media do I refuse to consume?
Let me answer it first so you can kind of understand a little better. I refuse to listen to Chris Brown.
Ooh. Who?
Exactly.
Michael Jackson's wannabe?
See, he's got a bunch of wannabes.
Oh, please.
Chris Brown, The Weeknd, and Bruno Mars.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing with that. Chris Brown has been trying. He used to not do it as obvious back in the day, but as he got older, he was just straight up trying to be Michael. You heard "Fine China" before by him? He has a song called "Fine China." He tries so hard to sound like Michael in that song that it sounds like he got a second person to sing the high notes for him.
I wouldn't know. I refuse.
But
just by default,
Bruno's got more of like Morris Day of the time in him.
Bruno, I feel like, is looking a lot like Michael Jackson did. Like Thriller era.
That's true. Yeah.
Like especially with his hair like picked out the way he has been.
Except with like 3 less feet.
You didn't have to do that. You did not have to do that.
Listen. It's no shade, because I would still smash all of that. All like all the foot and a half.
So you're really doing a lot. And I need you to cease and also desist.
The real statement is, maybe you're not doing enough, sir.
Anyway, but the other media that I just will not is the Twilight series. Now hang on, I'm not one of those people that just hates on it just because it's popular. I legitimately gave it a chance, read one of the books, got through about 35-40 minutes of one of the movies, and just could not. It's bad in my opinion.
Honestly, when I was younger and I didn't know any better, when Twilight first got like humongous, I actually liked the first book, and it was solely the first book. And I didn't read it after that, and then they announced the movies were coming out. I go, okay. I watched the first movie, and I was disgusted.
See, and the thing is that at least I think it was the first movie, because my mom and brother were watching the first movie years ago, like right when it started coming on TV.
Yeah.
And at one point, somebody jumps on somebody else's head or somebody else's shoulders and rips the guy's head clean off.
Was he blonde? I'm pretty sure that's the first movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like the main bad. Ooh, he was so fine.
Anyway, but that and the werewolf transformations, those are the closest things to redeeming qualities, but I still kind of avoid it as much as I can.
That's not the first movie then. There were no werewolves in the first movie.
There weren't?
Like Jacob was there, but I don't think they really introduced the werewolves yet.
I might be thinking of some commercials or something, just watching them run.
That was when Taylor Lautner had. That was when Taylor Lautner had like that fresh synthetic weave on the whole movie. No shade, because Taylor Lautner looked so fine with that fucking horrible lace front he had on that whole movie.
How are you being this much of a
contradiction?
contradiction?
And then he shaved it off, or they got rid of it, and I'm like, you know what?
Yeah, but isn't he supposed to be Native American in the movie?
Yeah, he is. He's supposed to be. And I'm like, and he's supposed to be like on a reservation too? Come on. Like, it was a little more realistic to me. I could be completely wrong here. Someone please at me if I'm wrong. I feel like it's more.
Oh, and we'll drop our Twitter handles and such towards the end.
Yeah.
Just so.
Or they'll be down in whatever description you're watching or listening to this on YouTube and SoundCloud, most likely. But I feel like that was more realistic, because even in the book he had long hair. He had long hair the whole series in the book, because Bella kept talking about it and about how moist it made her, pretty much.
You're already putting too much inflection on it if you're trying to be Bella.
Ooh. Ooh. Poor Kristen, girl. I hope you're doing all right.
And I had something else that I outright refused to consume. And I cannot think of what it is right now. And I know as soon as I get in the car and start heading back home and like turn on the radio or something and it happens and it's just that immediate nope. And it'll be I could have put that in the podcast.
Is it somebody?
No. Though now that you mention it, I also side-eye Drake into the sun. He can keep his feelings somewhere else, but after all the shit he talked about Kid Cudi being weak or whatever, when Kid Cudi checked himself into a mental hospital, that was when I ceased to want to have anything to do with Drake, because listen, I get this whole beef with, like, I guess you can call Drake a rapper. I get I guess that if that's what he wants to label himself as, do him. But Aubrey.
Miss Aubrey. But I get the whole beef thing. Like, it's fun to do. Before it was like, I feel like before it was more for fun to do that, like between artists. But now it's like
cheap shots.
Yeah, it's cheap shots, and it's like ways to like, well, that song I released didn't do real well. Who's doing better than me? Let me find some to talk shit about. And that's exactly what Miss Graham did. Mrs. Degrassi. Ooh, y'all remember that?
Okay.
But yeah, that was low. I get the whole taking shots, starting beef, throwing shade, tight. There's some things you don't do. And one is when someone is having a weak moment of, anything mentally, really. and it's impacting them in their way of living and their thought process.
And
they're open about it. And they're like, yeah, this is happening to me and I need to get help for it. And you go, oh, that's perfect chance to fucking talk shit. Please.
Especially more so given that, mental health stuff has such a negative stigma in the black communities.
Woo! That's not even open that jar of coconut oil, because that's a whole episode we got.
Yeah.
I'd still fuck you though, Drake, if you're listening.
Okay. I am trying to take this kind of seriously.
I am too.
And you
serious.
are halfway through a screwdriver and being 50 Shades of Ridiculous already. Oh, that's another thing I won't mess with. The 50 Shades series.
Oh, do you know about that whole thing about how that was, or the author originally wrote that as Twilight fan fiction, right?
So that's why I hate it so much. Have you
ever read about that? Have you heard that?
No.
Like, it was apparently written as Edward Bella fan fiction.
And then names got
changed. And then
changed.
she was like, well, you know what, fuck it. Change the names.
And make all sorts of assumptions about the S&M community.
Yeah. Oh, that are horribly wrong. I fight everybody. Like, if I know you personally and you like 50 Shades, you're garbage and your Lacefront smells like eggs. Fight me. Because 50 Shades is the hottest piece of donkey shit I've ever read, ever seen. And every black mama and auntie went out and bought that fucking book. My mama had it. My auntie had it. And I was like, y'all are fucking nasty. Yeah. Y'all are shameful, letting these white people influence the way you think this is supposed to work. Because none of that is how that's supposed to work. There's supposed to be communication.
Consent.
There's supposed to be consent. There's supposed to be, if it ain't working, you stop.
Exactly.
And you work through the emotions tied to, why, you work through that shit.
Not,
together.
Stalking and
punching
ignoring.
other fuckers in the face and signing contracts like you're fucking skinny white Ursula.
That poor unfortunate soul.
Poor unfortunate soul in chains with whips.
I can't with you.
Okay. Is it my turn to ask a question?
Yes, it's your turn to ask a question before you get even more messy.
Always. Ooh, you ready for this?
Oh dear.
What is the most annoying question people ask you? Are you ready for the? I want to hear it. I have several.
One of them is definitely, why are you so articulate?
Oh my god.
I mean, that's obviously related to that backhanded compliment I get. Oh, you're so articulate. You're so well spoken.
Right. Like, or let's make it even. Let's go further, because that's one of the questions I got. Why do you sound so white? Why do you sound so white? Like, I mean, or let's go further into that. I mean, yeah, you're black, but you're not one of like those black people. I've had someone say this to me, and I might censor it, I might not, I probably won't. There's black people, and then there's.
See.
Have you ever heard that before? I've had several people say that to me.
I've heard that before, and the person that said that to me is lucky that we knew each other for years, because I yelled at him about it, stopped talking to him for a couple months. He came back and apologized, and to date has not used that word around me since.
Like, what kind of ass backwards slave house logic? What kind of house nigga logic is that?
Oh, and adding in the but that just means ignorant people.
But you're wrong. But that's not how that works.
But you tried it.
But you tried, and you get a 0 for effort. And again, your lace front smells like egg whites.
Oh, now egg whites. Are they trying to go fat free?
I mean, white people,
Stop. You're gonna make us lose listeners. You're like 30 minutes into the first episode.
I know, and we already throwing shade. I'm sorry to all my white friends. I love you guys so much. And sorry to the 30% of me that's really angry with me right now. I'm sorry. Let me see. What was I about to say? I lost my train of thought. Mm-hmm. Oh, questions that people don't like, right. What I didn't like was the where are you from, or what do you mix with? That's the better question. I despise that question because it's always because of my eyes. Always is. I have like
these light blue, green, gray.
Blue, green, gray, whatever they feel like being that day, whatever wig they want to put on.
Whatever Smokey Robinson.
You know what? Don't talk shit about Smokey, because that's what people used to call me back in the day, and I'm offended. Like, yo, Smokey, I'm like, I'm sorry. Thank you for calling me a successful black entrepreneur in music. But I always hated that. Are you mixed? Or what do you mix with question? I'm like, why am I mixed? And they're like, oh, your eye color is really. I'm like, I mean, we can have colored eyes too. We're not brown everywhere, sis.
Oh, which reminds me, the I almost don't even want to go into this. The something blonde hair. Black people don't get blonde hair.
Oh my God!
And
why do black people wear blonde weave? First of all,
it's assimilation, not.
First of all, you can't even wear a weave without your hair falling out. Bet Rebecca. Second of all. I can go and find you some pictures of like
Melanesian people.
Yeah, thank you. That have straight up blonde hair that is thicker and more resistant to the elements than yours is. It won't fall out by the age of 22.
Okay, so you're still doing a lot, and I want for us to actually keep listeners.
Yes, I know.
So
I know. I'm so sorry, but this is what you're gonna have to work with.
No, you're not.
I put about half of the screwdriver is vodka, hun.
Oh,
so
that explains everything.
So you just gonna have to rock steady, baby. All right, is it your turn for a question or mine? Because you asked. Oh, I did the most annoying question. So
yep.
Yeah.
Okay. How often do you people watch?
Consistently. Constantly. Especially, I have these like 1970s Farrah Fawcett sunglasses that I wear out in public. And I will literally like stare at fucking everybody. I'd be like, ooh, that looks like a hot ass mess.
Keep going.
Okay. You're forgetting I can just cut this out, so what happened?
I was just saying, let's do 2 more questions each and then take a break.
Okay. Let's do that. Okay. I'm just gonna start that question over again. So I have these Farrah Fawcett sunglasses that I have that I literally cover all of my eyes and my eyebrows so you can't tell where I'm looking. You know how in Purple Rain, Prince was like eyeballing the back of Apollonia's head in the club in that first scene? Those are literally the sunglasses I have. Where he looked in like 40 different directions. He didn't care about her weave. He was looking at 40 different directions like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to watch the stage, miss. Can you get out of my line of sight? But I literally use those glasses to like stare the hell out of people. I'd be like, ooh. So.
Who told you that was a good idea?
Those jeans were a choice.
A bad one.
Birkenstocks are always garbage. Girl, I can see all 7 of your tracks and you didn't sew them in properly. I don't know if those are bangs. I don't know. I don't know if you want to call those baby hairs or not because your baby hairs have baby hairs. I just judge people. I sit there and do that all day.
So you're a terrible person.
I sure the fuck am.
Anyway.
What do you people watch?
All the time.
Shame me for doing that, but you do it too.
Do as I say, not as I do. No, I people watch for relatively frequently. Going back to the whole being a writer thing. I actually had a bit of an adventure in a downtown suburb a few months ago. Actually, almost a year now. Where a friend and I were kind of just walking around, and we see these 2 people kind of running around, doing a little bit more than just walking around that area. And after about a minute of just thinking about it, I ended up crafting an entire story arc for the one person that jumped on a fountain, did a pose, and then jumped back off and jogged away. Mm-hmm. and like was legitimately just crafting a story for a good 20, 30 minutes.
I remember you told me about that. Yeah. Where you like made a whole ass story on the fly.
Yeah, there was military service and betrayal and cheating and children.
Yeah,
and,
she's an edgy queen.
And, learning how to swim and all sorts of stuff that, I pulled some of the knowledge that I knew and, made some assumptions based on that person that was, running around.
Which is a talent. I don't think, you know that, yeah? Like, that is something, like...
That I can improvise a whole story and...
Yeah, just by looking at somebody. I can't even come up with a first name for some of these heifers I see out in the street sometimes.
Yeah, but you can talk shit about everything else.
I sure can. But that's not good enough for a story. That's more like if I wanted to write for BuzzFeed. Ooh.
Well, I mean, you can shade somebody about their outfit choice and then wonder how they got to that point.
Like, damn, who hurt her?
God damn it.
Who told her... Never mind.
As you spike the mics with that laugh. Gods above. All right, your turn.
Okay, I found a couple good ones. What is something? Ooh, I can go in on this one. What is something that a ton of people are obsessed with that you just don't get the point of?
Hoverboards.
Hoverboards? That's like...
Or does that make me... No.
Does it make you what?
I was going to say, does it make me sound old almost?
No, not really. It's just, I don't think anybody really got the point of them. Especially because of whoever named them hoverboards.
Because they're not hovering.
They're on wheels, Beach. That's a scooter without handles.
That's a Segway without a handle.
Yeah, not even a Segway. A Segway looks nicer than a fucking hoverboard.
Yeah, but it's still the same concept. It's a two-wheeled thing that you stand on.
Without the handles on it. Who came up with that? I want to know. I want you to talk to me so I can beat the hell out of you for coming up with something so stupid. That's the dumbest. I hate it. I went to a community college in Oakland, and I swear to God, walking around and seeing like a couple of folks riding by on fucking hoverboards through the campus, like they were the shit. I'm like, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't know they allowed 12-year-old boys on campus to take classes here because you look ridiculous. I don't know. There's a lot that I don't understand that people get into.
I never got how people were so into reality TV.
I can. Honestly, I was never into it. But again, mother, I love you. She watches Real Housewives, all that bullshit.
So a cavalcade of mess.
I always hated that because that was just let's bank off of black women stereotypes TV
and being
this series. Yeah, like that. There had to have been some malicious intent behind like some of those housewives things, especially when they got into like the doctors. Like the wives of the doctors and stuff. Because I'm like, that, in the back of my head, I feel like someone was like, yeah, let's show people that no matter how high up these people get, they're still a ratchet ass fucking mess.
I kind of
And I see the good and bad. I don't really see a good side. I see the bad sides to that, but I also kind of see the reality to that because money doesn't change people. But at the same time, I feel like whoever was in charge of making that show had a malicious intent behind. Like, had that idea in their head.
Mona. Excuse me.
Glory.
Anyway. Stan culture.
Stan culture?
Stan culture. Like, people just going all the way out for someone that doesn't
even know who these... Okay, yeah. Let's go in on that.
Like, Nicki stans, Cardi stans... Beyonce stands to a lesser extent.
Because Beyonce is a goddess. Sorry. Not sorry.
No, I think, like... I see, like, the ultra standing of or for Beyonce that I just don't get. Like, I understand being a huge fan because between, like, her performances, which I actually saw a bunch of the footage of the Coachella performance, and my God.
She fucked everybody's... She stole edges. She stole lace fronts. She stole lace backs.
She finished that performance.
She stole shoelaces.
She finished that. She finished that performance and then woke up the next day to a package at her tour bus just filled with edges.
Just edges. Got to be glued to like your baby hairs down. Like she had enough to make 4 more weeks. You know, she had enough edges to make another Mortal Kombat ponytail for her next tour. Listen, I'm not shading that ponytail. That is one of the most amazing lace front, back, sideways, polka dot I've ever seen in my life, because that is, oh my God. See, here I am standing from Beyonce.
A little bit. See, but the thing is, I can understand being a big fan, but
people be going all out,
like threatening to attack people over the people you stand for is really doing the most.
And I hate to say it, but there's usually like young people doing it. I'm like, if you don't eat your animal crackers and do your homework, go to bed. Talking about some I live for Shawn Mendes, and anyone else who wants to argue about it can at me. My Finstagram URL is they have like 3 separate Instagrams talking about Shawn Mendes is my ovary snatcher, some bullshit like that. It's always like younger people going all the way out. And I'm not you looking at me crazy like that, but I'm not bullshitting.
I'm still back at the whole I just love Shawn Mendes.
Oh yeah, whoever she is, and I'm just kidding, Shawn. I mean, whenever you want to come out on the podcast,
don't even. I mean,
there's an empty space in this chair that we're doing this podcast.
So we're moving on to the next question.
Who asked? It's your turn, yeah?
Yes, it is. And I'm going to do one more, and then you do one more, and then we take a break. And then after this, I'm going to let another break of silence before I ask my question.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Ooh. What could you give a 40-minute presentation on with absolutely no preparation?
Lin Min May. From Macross, yes. Listen. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my seminar on That Bitch Min May.
And thank you for your TED Talk. Moving on.
I need you all to understand that woman can do costume changes in 0.5 seconds. Her clothes were holographic. Her weave was always on point. Freshly curled and for the gods. She had bops. Almost every song she wrote and produced herself.
I know y'all can't see me right now, but I am just rolling my eyes.
Was an absolute bop. She sang a song that fucking ended a war twice. And she went out and she almost had a man, and then that man was like, you know what? I'm gonna go for another girl. She was like, you know what? Fine. My career's still gonna flourish.
So she had to channel some Mary J. Blige.
She's like, just fine. Just a little more high pitched and less melanated.
Before you go full-fledged Stan mode. Ow. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
What
can you give a 40-minute presentation on?
I actually accidentally went into a whole 40-minute presentation with this person that I've been seeing for a while. They asked me about, because they hadn't been introduced to much hip-hop growing up.
Uh-oh.
So we ended up like listening through bits and pieces of Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar, and especially
a piece of art.
Yeah,
iconic.
Honestly, that and To Pimp a Butterfly.
Love it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I can let me not anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But specifically, what song was it? Sing About Me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that section of the conversation at least went on for 30 minutes, if not longer.
Oh, wow.
I'm just going more and more in depth into what each character represented, who each character was in relation to Kendrick, and everything like that. And why there were certain rhyme schemes, certain bits of slang that they might not have known, actually meant, or translated out of AAVE into common English.
It sounds like you're standing for.
I am not
Kendrick Lamar. I'm just kidding.
I'm not. I was gonna say I like analyzing. I like analyzing lyrics. I like analyzing music. I like analyzing musical choices.
Yeah.
like I can do that, twice over with To Pimp a Butterfly, especially taking into consideration like how his sound has evolved, especially with that album going from standard hip hop to going into like a lot of funk inspiration.
Ooh, my favorite. Absolutely.
A lot of funk, and the first interlude was just impregnated with freeform jazz.
Impregnated. Ooh.
It was
That's
ready to pop.
it's accurate. Actually.
It was just so much jazz, and I guess he had been inspired by, was it Miles Davis? No, I can't think of the guy's name right now.
I don't know. He wouldn't be inspired by Miles Davis.
No, I get that. I just can't think of who it was that kind of inspired him to incorporate more jazz. I know George Clinton had a big hand, especially in the first track of the album. Let me stop because I'm already starting to stand a little.
Speaking of him, quick sidebar about George Clinton. I went to Taste of Chicago, where him and Parliament Funkadelic was performing. That man is like 80 years old.
And still
rocks the stage. Although, this is no disrespect to George Clinton, please don't come for me. That man literally could sit there on stage and the whole entire audience went wild. He literally came out and sat in a chair. Like a purple, glittery, sequin chair, and went like, hello. Everybody, and like all the aunties in the front row were just screaming, like, oh my God. And I'm like, you know what? I need to aspire to that level one day. I want to sit my ass in a chair. I don't know what outfit he had on. It looked like he had a smock that was like had a bunch of paint thrown on it. It was a look.
That sounds like something
it was a look because it's George Clinton. No one else could do that. But he literally sat in the chair. It was like, ah!
Lord.
But all right. Should we ask any more? Or should we go on that little?
You know what? I think let's do one more and then we'll take a break.
Okay, one more and we'll take a break. Is it my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn because I just asked the 40-minute presentation.
Yeah. Okay, so my question is, what fad or trend do you hope comes back?
Ooh. Manners. No.
Etiquette. Learned it. Practice it. Use it. I sounded like Maya Angelou there.
If someone shows you who they are.
I'm sorry, that was Eartha Kitt.
If someone
shows you who they are,
they really are, believe them.
The first time. But that's a valid point because some people just don't. Some people just don't. They don't give two fucks. They're like, well, you know what? It's 2018, and I'm just literally going to disrespect everybody. I'm talking about myself.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I want to see more suits and ties.
Ooh.
Like, I want to see more people, like, especially with the advent of modern materials and such now, make it so that way, like, suits and ties for all genders, sidebar, because honestly, everybody looks sharp in a suit.
Yeah. Take a hint from Miss Monet. Auntie Monet is the one.
Don't.
Auntie Monet is the one who was like, yes, hello. A dress? What's that? I'm cinching this tux, hunty. Fuck with me.
Anyway. But no, like with the advent of more modern materials, you can
really make it like breathable and like much more wearable, like in different climates. And
exactly,
stuff.
Especially because we're in the tail end of summertime, and 9 times out of 10, I want to just crawl into an icebox and sleep.
Honestly,
because
listen, we have air conditioning at the place I work at now. In the store, so like I go in and it's all nice and cool, and then someone's like, yeah, can you help me carry out this furniture? I'm like, oh yeah, sure. I walk out and I immediately just die. The 30% of me inside just kind of withers. It was like, ooh, what's this?
What does that have to do with not? Never mind. Let's you know what?
Listen,
your turn.
40% of melanin can't. 60% melanin can counteract how much humidity we have had in Chicago.
So your math is wrong. You should be saying 70.
70? Ooh, I sure am wrong. Listen,
this
drink has a lot of vodka in it.
Clearly. Anyway,
but,
your turn. What trend would you want to see coming back?
Afros. and 80s electric makeup palettes that both men and women can wear. Now listen, I know what you're thinking, that there are palettes out there that are electric and real 80s inspired, but nothing will ever come close to what they actually had in the 80s, where you could put 30 different colors on one eyebrow and have it be a look. I want that to come back. I also want afros to come back.
More than they already
have, because listen,
Amara La Negra.
Listen. I just saw the sky open up just now. I don't think we should mention her name this early in this podcast. Miss La Negra, Madam Queen, Goddess La Negra. If you would like to come on the podcast,
Garnet in real life.
Garnet in real life. Estelle and Amara La Negra, if y'all could just come together in person with us and just talk to us, that'd be great. I don't know who I think I am inviting Amara La Negra and Estelle on the podcast.
Lord.
We're on the first episode.
You would probably faint, because
I would die.
You would not be able to handle all that Dominican beauty showing up.
I would die. Literally, I would die, because Amara La Negra is literally like damn near perfection with how much imperfection she has and shows and is okay with. That's what makes her just like, yes, hello. I'm darker than you want me to be, and my hair is bigger than it'll ever be. Y'all ain't gonna do shit about it. My performance sold out. Fight me.
Oh, if she showed up in the area.
But yes, as I was saying, afros, natural hair, 80s hairstyles really, for all races, like, need to come back. Because I was rocking a foot-long high top at one point, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it was tall enough that it was actually brushing the ceiling of my car.
Brushing the ceiling. It brushed the ceiling of everybody's car, and I'm pretty sure I was like 6'6" or 5" with that fucking high top on my head when it was its longest. Because you haven't seen it at its longest yet. You've seen it pretty long, but it was all the way like here at one point. But I said here, y'all can't see me, but it was tall. But yeah, 80s makeup, 80s hair.
That'd be an interesting combination of suits and 80s, like
listen,
classic suits combined with 80s hairstyles and makeup.
It would just be Grace Jones. What are you laughing for? I'm right. Auntie Jones was like, hello, I am a Jamaican born. I'm going to either wear a suit or nothing to this performance, and you're going to pay me, and you're going to like it. Slave to the rhythm. I need a man. Bops.
On that note, I think we're about ready to take a quick break. So
we'll be back, y'all. Don't leave yet.
Yeah, enjoy this quick little musical interlude, and we'll be right back. And welcome back to the Baldwin Kids Podcast. Hope you enjoyed those musical stylings by Vesta.
Yeah.
And we're going to get back into the questions, though this time they're going to be a little deeper than before.
Yeah, it's going to get real deep in here.
Well, we'll see what happens. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I went first last time.
Okay. What was the best compliment you've ever received?
It was like an amalgamation of compliments. it was just a bunch of. I think the best compliments, honestly, are just the ones where they just kind of start just like hurling more, like multiple compliments at you. Like, oh, you're such a sweet guy. You know what you're talking about. You're real.
Your music is sickening.
Oh, whatever. Stop it. That I've heard that a lot before.
Or do I need to bring up the girls going nuts at WakandaCon?
Oh my god. WakandaCon.
We'll go into WakandaCon in another episode, but for those who don't know, it was a Afrofuturism centric convention held in Chicago the first weekend in August.
That just relate.
It was amazing, and like I said, we'll go more in depth into it in another episode.
No, I take everything that you said back. The best compliment I ever had was, it's gonna get real deep. I told you it will. That I made my father proud by being who I am today. Because it's gonna get, like I said, this is a little. My dad's not here anymore. He passed a couple years ago. But I was always kind of worried when I was younger that I would never kind of live up to either one of my parents' expectations, along with anyone else's, really, because I didn't want to do a lot of the things that they wanted. My dad was really like sports heavy, and I never liked sports, and my mother was really into, like, she was like dead set that I was like mad gifted. Hate that word. Like, I was gifted and I was this and that. I'm gonna excel and get this degree and that degree. And I from a very young age knew I didn't want to do that. So I had a fear of not being what a lot of people wanted me to be. And the two main people that really were important in that were my parents. And so I remember when my father passed, I went and I was the one who took care of everything. And I think a lot of people came together and they were like, you know, despite what went down between you and your father, he would have been you've made your father proud. There's not even a question about that. And I think that's probably the best thing I've ever heard someone say about me, because it really meant a lot more than just what they said on the surface. But that's just me.
Okay, my turn. Mine is a bit of a story behind it. For those who don't know, I used to also teach swim lessons. Yes, some of us black folks know how to swim.
We all know how to swim. What are you talking about? Someone come after us, we can all fucking swim, just like we can all fucking run. Carry on.
Anyway, but I used to teach swim lessons pretty regularly, and I want to say during my first year, I got a higher level. Like the swim lessons I was teaching had multiple, levels. There's the beginners, the beginner intermediate, and so on and so forth. The lesson level that I was teaching was, I believe, 2 steps below the highest. And I got a pair of brothers, one of which was autistic. The first 2 lessons, the lessons were weekly, by the way. The first 2 lessons, I'm reaching the allistic brother, but not so much the autistic one. And one of the people on staff actually happened to be, a special education major, and she gave me a couple of pointers, and I used those same pointers throughout the rest of the session. Fast forward to the end of the session, which our tradition was we would, do any last-minute review, and then the last few minutes of class we would actually spend in the neighboring water park. It was all indoors, for the record. And the mom of those 2 came, tracked me down. I gave her, their progress reports, said that they were doing really well. They might need to do the same session one more time, to be ready to move up to the next level, but there was still, miles of improvement. And she, tells me that her autistic son told her that he wanted to be a swim teacher just like me when he got older.
Oh my god.
And I'm already emotional about that.
Say that would have
I was already trying not to break, and she then adds on that up until that point, he had never expressed any desire to do anything with his life when he got older. So I got to be, that source of inspiration for him.
I don't even know if I wouldn't know how to handle that. Oh my God.
When I tell you that I managed to cover almost bursting into tears with yelling at some kid to walk.
Stop running.
Pretty much. Like I managed to snap into lifeguard mode. Yeah, I did both. I managed to snap into lifeguard mode just in time to keep from bursting into tears because I got to be that for somebody. I got to be that inspiration. I got to be, I got to teach somebody a valuable skill like that. Mm-hmm. And that's something that honestly I think I'll keep with me, that I have that ability to inspire someone like that. That's something that I'll keep with me probably for the rest of my life.
That's honestly, and he was autistic. Yeah, mm-hmm. That's. I don't even know what else to add on to that because that's like such a. People suffering from autism, living with autism. Forgive me for saying that. Force of habit. Like, they have it so hard, given what everybody perceives about it. Sometimes it's the refrigerator. They have such a hard time from other people with that, and the fact that you were there to be like, I've never wanted to do anything, but I want to be what you are because you inspired me. I would literally like collapse to the floor if someone said that to me.
It took a lot.
Okay. Ooh.
All right. So
my question, because I lost it and I'm responsible. What was it? I think it was, what do you want to be remembered for? Was mine. Yes, that was mine. What do you want to be remembered for?
Okay.
Alright, I know my answer, I think.
Yeah, go ahead while I try to figure mine out, because I actually don't know.
I want to be known for making music, obvi. But I also want to be known for making music that doesn't fit into the norm or expectation of who I'm perceived to be on the outside. Because I've seen it pop up a lot more in the more recent years, where you see people of color delving into a lot more different genres that normally people exclude them out of.
Yeah, like
on the surface.
There was something about the first black female neuroscientist that popped up.
Right.
Or was she an astrophysicist? I know it was one or the other.
One of those two. I think it was astrophysicist. Because they related it to Hidden Figures, didn't they?
Maybe.
Like they were like referencing Hidden Figures, and then they brought up. I think it was astrophysicist. Again, add us if we're wrong.
I was gonna say sidebar. This obviously this first episode is more off the cuff, but we'll have our ducks in a better row.
We got a script later. Don't worry about it. We got an outline. We have a bibliography.
This whole section, this whole first episode is a bunch of Natasha Bedingfield. It's unwritten.
Fight me. To my ass.
Anyway. So you want to be remembered for making bad bitch music.
Music that doesn't fit. That doesn't have to be fucking. I'm gonna sound. People are gonna give me shit. I don't want to just make R&B and rap.
You want to be kind of.
Yeah, I want to be
more eclectic.
All over, yeah. Because a lot of people tend to fall into that at some point.
You want to do like what Gambino did.
Yes, absolutely. Because he's everywhere.
For those who don't know, one of his more recent offerings, Childish Gambino, aka Donald Glover, is a predominantly a hip hop artist, but one of his more recent albums, "Awaken My Love," he's just I think I'm gonna do a funk album.
Yep.
Out of nowhere, and it was actually really good.
Yeah, it was. "Awaken My Love" was amazing. But yeah, that's what I want to be known for. I don't want to fall into the category of like, oh, well, he's black. He's gonna make R&B and rap, right? He's gonna make R&B and rap beats for other people, right? And it's like, no, bitch, I want to make some disco music right now, today. Y'all are gonna love it.
Or be like, surprise, binge, here's some Breaking Benjamin background.
Exactly. But yeah, that's me. What about you?
I think I kind of want to just piggyback off of what, the greatest compliment thing. Because I'm pretty sure we mentioned earlier that I do want to be a teacher. Mm-hmm. In a perfect world, I would love to be a high school teacher, a high school English teacher. Mm-hmm. And I want to be, that teacher that people look back on fondly. Saying that, I help them get their writing together, help them get their, help them, learn things about themselves, help them come out, like help them write that out and realize certain things, help them learn things about themselves, learn things about other people.
Right.
And like it shows, like even in my Facebook post, it shows that like I'm somehow managed to find patience throughout all different brands of nonsense, all different brands of dominant group nonsense, for the record. So all different brands of white nonsense, male nonsense, cis nonsense, etc.
Right.
But I somehow managed to keep my composure, mostly because I can rage about it for 5 minutes and then come back and actually type things out. But keep my composure and try to tell people, this is why this is an issue. This is why what you're saying is a red herring, and so on and so forth. But being able to continually teach people and be that teacher, because I can almost guarantee that if you're listening to this and you have not been homeschooled, there's one or two teachers that, so-and-so is amazing, so-and-so is awesome. Like I had a social studies teacher in high school who, would make self-deprecating jokes on like, for us to, remember the difference between longitude and latitude, because he would always say like latitude, fatitude, like me. And that like he never gave homework aside from, bringing whatever we were working on in class, we would bring that home and finish it for the next day, and that would be our homework. But like he knew that like a lot of the people in that class were in honors and AP classes, and they had metric tons of homework to do already. And so he didn't want to add to that and add to their stress more so, or beyond, finishing what was worked on in class. And if I remember correctly, we had one project and midterm, final, and classwork, and that was it. But he kept the comedy going. He made people laugh. He kept the students engaged. I think I saw one person on their phone for like 5 minutes in the entire semester that I had him.
Oh, wow.
And he's one of the ones, like I said, that will stick with me probably for the rest of my life. And I would love to be that, if not necessarily for a bunch of people, but if I can do that for 2, 3, 4 people, that'd be something for me. Yeah.
I can't handle these questions. Like, we out here, like, this is such a polar contrast to what just happened. Like,
because
earlier.
The first segment was all kinds of mess.
Hot ass mess, and here it's just like, hello, we're here now.
Well, I mean, we can take a mess interlude before getting into the heavy question for the finale.
But interludes tend to go on to like 10-minute tangents here in this household. In this podcast, we'll go off on one subject and we'll be there for about 10 minutes.
Okay. We just want to try to keep this under 90 minutes, and we are sitting at, we still got about 13.
13. We can
Give
probably
or take.
We could probably spare about 5 for the heavy question, before the heavy question. So 5 minutes of fuckery. What are we talking about?
Well, let's see. We can't really bring up my culture's bitch ass because I'm pretty sure I will be furious, and my mom will probably be mad at me for cussing out somebody she thinks is just so fine.
Fine and fucking stupid.
It's not even stupidity. It's just
ignorant.
It's malicious levels of ignorance.
Ignorant. It's ridiculous.
Like, he got all that melanin and still
had the nerve to just... You had so many outlets to make that matter to people that weren't black or didn't have melanin, that you went and just threw that straight in the garbage. Because they're gonna... Like, I hate to say that. It sounds so wrong. But Luke Cage is one of the OG main, like, black superheroes that Marvel
isn't
had.
lightning based, because for some reason...
Yeah, that isn't. No shade to Static Shock. That was my
or Black Lightning.
Or Black Lightning.
Or Storm.
Or Storm, yeah. I don't know what they were trying to say, but I guess black people just cause the weather.
Well, I mean, when you throw this much shade, it might cause a little climate cooling.
This fucking climate change, yeah. Just this, like, bam, 30 degrees lower in here. It's just, it disappointed me when he said what he said. It was so disrespectful.
Yeah, when I found out, my immediate first thought was that clip from America's Next Top Model.
Oh God!
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
With that iconic fucking single white female lace front she had on. Oh my God! I have that scene and outfits and people's faces memorized. How many times I watched that?
I do too. My mom was a huge fanatic for America's Next Top Model.
If my mother yells at me, it's because she loves me. If you took what she said and said it as Maya Angelou, people could mistake that for some of her poetry if you said it the right way. If my mother yelled at me, it's because I can't even do it. Stop looking at me like that.
If my mother yelled at me, it means that she loved me. May she rest in peace.
We were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you.
How dare you?
But that sort of segues into that Ariana Grande mess at Aretha's funeral. I was disgusted. First of all,
anybody with half an ounce of sense was disgusted.
I didn't want to see it anyway, because no shade to our people, but funerals and weddings for us are like the Super Bowl. You got to prepare ahead of time. You got to bring your own snacks because you don't know if whoever's cooking is going to cook the food right.
Somebody might put raisins in the damn potato salad.
Didn't wash all the collard greens. Put chitlins on the menu. Ooh, let's not talk about that. Didn't clean them. Woo!
There is no amount of cleaning that will ever get me to eat that mess. You could dip them bitches in bleach for a week, and I will still.
It's just a light misting of Febreze. Nope. And you'd be like, ooh.
I can't.
Next.
I can't.
Back to I wasn't one to pay attention to the funeral. No disrespect to Queen Aretha Franklin. May she rest in peace and power. But
may she rest in peace and power in them Louboutin pumps.
Can we? Legs crossed.
Like a lady.
Just goodbye.
And you notice she actually had the bottom half of the casket open to show.
Yeah, she was like, excuse me, y'all ain't covering none of this up at my funeral. Not when my black ass has stayed his foot in the bill.
I am going to be sickening until they shut the casket.
Right. And I'll be sickening after that because I want you to release all this unreleased material.
Be subterranean sickening.
Oh my God. Sub-sickening.
Oh, Jesus.
But back to what we were talking about. No, Clinton's old ass needs to go back and learn the saxophone instead of looking at young girls still. Acting like that isn't what got his ass in trouble the first time. Looking like a fucking dried up peach. Fuck. He looked like an electrocuted Q-tip. You know what he looks like?
Electrocuted Q-tip with some gum on the front.
Oh, ew.
Don't get me started. Bill Clinton. And if anybody tries to at me saying Bill Clinton was the first black president, you could suck my dick on 3 different days of the week. Because no, and also no.
But, fucking... You know what he reminds me of? You know those fucking... you know that scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark when they open the Ark of the Covenant and that guy's face gets sucked in? That's what he looked like.
I thought I got melted off.
Melted off, exploded, sucked inward. One of them looked like a fucking skeletal, eyes rolled back.
That's like Skeletor.
Oh, no impressions today, sir.
Yeah, that's another one of my random talents
He can
that I like doing.
Turn into like 50 different people in about 5 seconds, and I hate it. But we keep going off topic. We're about to talk about something important. We keep getting distracted.
Honestly, I feel like a part of it is to keep from being too heavy. 'Cause this is supposed to be equal parts political commentary and a little bit of heavy stuff, but political commentary with a more lighthearted twist.
Right.
Because I know some people avoid it because it gets so heavy and
gets real
dark
heavy,
and depressing. And sometimes some of this mess is just as
Dark.
It's just as dark, but it's also able to be made fun of on a level similar to pop culture stuff. Like who so-and-so's fucking so-and-so, so-and-so's cheating on this, that, and the fourth, and the fifth, and the sixth. And it's... I don't know.
Yeah, but I feel like just to mention it before we go to the deep question, that whole mindset, my problem is Ariana.
Wait. Can I guess?
She shouldn't have been wearing a dress like
God,
that.
she should. Well, like I'll get to that. But Miss Aretha Franklin was a victim of this ongoing, hasn't ended yet. Like violence towards women in the black community and in the church. She was molested by people in the church. I don't remember if it was her pastor or not, but she was that's part of her story, and she was vocal about it. The fact that Ariana Grande at her funeral had the same shit televised happen to her, and it was televised. She couldn't sit there and fucking shove the bitch off like she wanted to. She'd have been like, if you don't back the fuck up before I get my man on you, like. And she looked uncomfortable. And the dude was like, when I heard Ariana Grande, I thought of something at Taco Bell, implying that something that could be eaten. Like, I don't know. Did you get, like, the subtext in that is disgusting.
I didn't read that far into it. I was too busy wanting to reach through the screen
I was like,
and rip his whole trachea out.
I was appalled. Like, and he was sitting there, like, fondling her tit on live TV. And was just like, yup. And then when people called it out, as we rightfully fucking did, here come these
ashy bitches,
Negroes out the woodworks with their fucking arms,
respectability
with
politics.
their arms on their necks. Ooh, that was deep. Talking about some fucking, she made herself an object when she dressed. That dress is inappropriate. Last I checked, you ain't supposed to judge people when you go to church. You go to church for yourself, first of all. That's what you're supposed to be going for. If you're sitting there in church worried about what people are wearing, instead of worrying about saving your goddamn self in the eyes of the Lord, then you need to go the fuck home, because you're not getting anything done. And the God you pray to will not do anything for you. So the fact that you sat there and disrespected this woman and justified her being disrespected, well, she shouldn't have worn that. Bitch. And what? People be wearing whole ass outfits from chin to ankle and get it torn off of them just as easy. I'm sorry, that's triggering to some people. It is, but that's what happens. What you wear or are not wearing does not change the fact that it happens consistently.
She could have been on that stage, buck ass naked, and that still would not have
wouldn't have warranted anything. And if you think it did, then you are part of the problem. Again, your weave smells like eggs, and you can at me about it.
But what she was wearing does
it wasn't
not
even that how was that inappropriate? It was black. It's the only thing that you need to follow there is that it's black.
Yeah, like I was saying all sorts of things that it should have been longer, blah de blah. Okay.
The fuck? Aretha had on gold in her casket. Gold and looped.
Anyway, but the thing is that the only, like, yeah, okay, no, I'm not even gonna give you that point that her dress could have been an inch or two longer, because bitch, you wouldn't have been wouldn't have been able to tell the difference, and two, still probably would have blamed her for wearing something with a sheer section on her chest as to why that pastor was fondling her
with a ring on his finger.
In front
about that.
In front of thousands.
if not millions of people, because it was aired on TV, I believe, right? Yeah.
Tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions. It does not matter.
Everyone saw it, and that is embarrassing, and it's disgusting. Because you know damn well Ariana's a bad bitch, so she ain't just gonna break off of no bullshit. But you know, she went straight home to her man, and she looked upset, and he was like, yeah, I know.
Because and I've seen a whole bunch of, why didn't she fight back, blah, blah, blah.
She was on live fucking TV in front of a man that's tall. Y'all don't understand that women have to go through this on a daily fucking basis. And y'all also tend to ignore what happens when they do try and fight back.
Yeah, like
they're dead.
Yeah, like there's actual concrete evidence that she was violated of someone else's volition, and yet somehow
y'all still defending it. Oh well, she shouldn't have dressed. She shouldn't have worn. She should have pushed him off. Blah blah blah. Bullshit. He should not have. With his black ass, with a ring on his like a wedding ring on his finger, should have been following some young girl, because she's still young. Even
she's what, like 23, 24,
something like that. She looks like 12, but there's no shade to her. That's them good genes. But it's disrespectful. It's disgusting. He should feel disgusted. And I hope that the Lord goes back to the days of the Exodus and sends every pestilence on his house for all the bullshit he pulled.
As I try my best not to make a Prince of Egypt reference.
I send the pestilence and plague into your house and to you. Again, we're not trying to downplay the seriousness of that situation, but we're trying to keep it from getting
too heavy.
Yeah.
All right. You ready for that last question before we run too long?
Yeah, let's do this last question.
Thought you were picking it.
We picked it. We both picked it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, bear with me momentarily.
Mm-hmm. You know, I misplay stuff too, so it's fine.
Uh-huh. Well, let's see. Oh, here we go.
Okay.
How do you hope you'll change as a person in the future?
How do you hope you'll change? Oh, yeah, we did pick that question.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to go first while you think about it?
Yeah.
All right. So, time to get a teeny bit personal. I have been diagnosed with depression. Well, technically dysthymia, which, in as few words as possible, is depression light. Like, I still get all of the mental stuff, but the crossing over into the physical world of, not getting out of bed and stuff. I'm too stubborn, I guess. I don't know what to call it, because I feel like anything I try to call it outside.
The impossible task is what I've heard it called. Where small, not that tedious daily activities are exceptionally hard for you.
Yeah, like me dealing with my student loan stuff, for example, is just it's a long story, and I'm not going to get too far into it.
A story that a lot of people can relate to, because if a lot of us are in universities, and student loan debt is an eternal cloud on a lot of people's emotions.
But anyway, I bring that up to say that I, in the future, would like to have a job that doesn't end up with me with some degree of laceration every week. Like, I legitimately say it's not a normal week if I don't bleed. Like, the material I work with is extremely sharp, and as callous as my hands are, it still happens pretty regularly that I'll nick a finger with a blade, or catch the edge of some material the wrong way, or push something through a table saw the wrong way, or try to catch something that another coworker tossed at me, or what have you, and I end up bleeding. Right. But I want to have some kind of job that is less of an occurrence. I want to have one that pays me well enough that I can, pursue anything that I want financially. One that, gives me, more time to do things, doesn't eat as much of my energy. I want to be able to get back into training more often. I still have kind of a lofty goal with my powerlifting, which is I want to be able to deadlift 1,000 pounds or more Yeah. I want to be able to deadlift my 1,000 pounds or more by my 30th birthday.
Woo.
Which I'm past halfway. I can do 615, but I want to be able to do 1,000 by the time I'm 30. I want to have my car paid off and drive that bitch into the ground because fuck payments.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to live somewhere else. I live in a far southwest suburb of Chicago right now. There's a part of me that wants to live in or near the city proper, and there's another part of me that really wants to move to the Boulder, Colorado area. And no, it's not just for the weed.
The same reason why everybody brings up Oregon too. Like whenever someone says they want to go to Oregon, they're like, "Oh, because weed, because Mary Jane." I'm like, no, bitch. It's because it's lower rent out there. The fuck.
No,
That's the only thing that fucking matters.
It's not necessarily the lower rent or anything, because Boulder specifically is actually pretty expensive from my research.
Yeah, because it's a bigger city.
But the main thing, the reason I say Boulder specifically and not Colorado as a whole, is that Boulder is pretty much butted up directly against a preserve. And I've just seen like screenshots and photos and done some Google Street View stuff, and am just in awe of how beautiful the area is. And the ability to be able to, hop on an actual like pedal bicycle, not a motorcycle, like just a literal bike, and ride that, up a hill and be in the mountains, be in the woods, and be able to just explore the area like that is amazing to me.
Right. Because I've seen bits and pieces of Colorado, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
It's so gorgeous. Oh, yeah, and Boulder is about 45 minutes from Denver, so I can still get my big city fix when I need it.
Right.
But that's about it for me. Less depressed, better living situation, paid off car, and...
Lifting. Lifting.
Oh, yeah, the deadlift goal. And... I think that's about it.
Okay.
All right. Your turn.
Whew. I want a lot of the same things most people my age do. Jobs don't pay enough.
Reach.
Jobs don't pay enough. Rents don't charge any less. Schools don't charge any less. And it is becoming increasingly more common for kids to stay with their parents well into their 20s, because it's just damn near impossible to do it without wearing something of you down, whether it's you physically, mentally, or emotionally. Something of you gets worn down in the process of trying. And how people cope with that is individual, but it's not good for anybody really. But as far as me, I need to learn one thing I want to change is my love for myself. I'm not the smallest girl in town. I weigh about 378 now. I used to weigh about 405 at my heaviest about a year ago.
So congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you. But that's not necessarily the root of my problems. It's paranoia again. Like I mentioned before, that I'm afraid of letting people down or not living up to people's standards. And a standard that's far too common and shouldn't be common anymore is what size you should be, what you should look like, what you should dress like. And I just want to be myself. And a lot of myself isn't okay with a lot of people. And while I am the first person to say, well, fuck what people think, sometimes it starts to get to you. How big or how small it gets to people. And some people it don't, but some people it doesn't. But a lot of people, I feel like it gets to you. Even if you try not, you can do your best, but sometimes it'll sneak its way in. And it's something that I need to work on, is loving myself a lot more and not relying on other people to validate how I feel about myself and what I do and what I want to do and what I want to dress like and what I want to wear. I want to be able to go out with my thickness in a see-through blue shirt out in public and not give two fucks about it. Sometimes I do it, and sometimes I cry about it when I get home because I feel like I've been stared at the whole night. And I want to be able to exist without getting side-eyed because I'm bigger than most people I stand around. Not height-wise, but weight-wise.
Well,
what?
You're pretty tall too.
Well, I mean, I don't care. I don't care if I'm taller than people. Fuck that. Hell yeah, I'm tall. But I mean, size-wise, width-wise, I feel like I worry I get stared at for that, and I need to learn to not let that get to me as often as it does. And I think that's mainly it for me. Oh, this was way too deep. I should have got another drink, but
Yeah, see, I already grabbed one.
Yeah,
I asked.
But
I did
listen,
ask.
I need to. I reiterate that screwdriver was half vodka, half orange juice. I don't think I need another drink for a couple days.
All right.
Real quick sidebar. I don't know how people can just go out like every other night to club and still function. Like to go to work the next day.
That is a skill in and of itself.
I'm like, I don't know how y'all, like, I follow some people on like Instagram and like Snapchat. And they're literally out clubbing every other night.
You young people.
I'm like, I'm 22 years old and I'm in bed. I need a nap sometimes. But more power to y'all. Just that was a real quick thought I had. If y'all want to answer me how y'all do that, please leave me a step-by-step tutorial in the messages, because I would love to know.
Actually, that actually makes for a perfect segue for finishing, this first episode. If you would like to reach out to us, you can do it by emailing us at askthebkcast@gmail.com. You can shoot us questions. You can shoot us stories about how...
Questions, comments, concerns, reads, or attempted reads, because y'all can't read me.
You can also, tell us about how you, learned about some kind of mental health thing, because that's going to be a pretty big focus of this show.
And one of the things we're going to try and do later on is read some of these stories. If you would like them to be read, if you want to just tell us about it. We would be happy to read it, not on the podcast, but in our own time. If you want us to read it, we totally could, because that's something we want to delve into and get more perspective on, because we're only two people, and getting more perspective on different things that people exist with would be really good to talk and delve into on this. In future episodes, of course.
Naturally. You can also get a hold of me on Twitter at the Iron Magnus. That's THEIRONMAGNUS. Do you have a Twitter?
No, Twitter sucks.
Rude.
No shade. I never really got into Twitter. I might get one eventually when it's like out of style and going out like MySpace did.
We may make a Twitter specifically for this podcast.
That'll possibly, we'll let y'all know. But I have an Instagram where I post fabulous, diverse selfies of myself consistently, if you want to see that. It is the House of Fire, house_of_fire, no fancy numbers for letters, on Instagram. And of course, we have the Facebook page.
Which is the Baldwin Kids Podcast.
Yeah, Baldwin Kids Podcast.
Shoot us a like, suggest us to your friends, all that fun stuff.
Yep. And I think that's about it for this one, yeah?
All right, any closing comments?
Sade needs to go on tour again. Random sidebar. Queen, we know you're the baddest bitch in the game, but we need another tour. It's been like 11 years now. Come back, please.
And I'm sure you would be refreshing a Ticketmaster page as soon as you heard
consistently.
About it. Take the whole day off work. Just
I would take the day off work to call the day off work that I was gonna go see the concert.
mess.
All right, anything for you, Mister?
No, I think that's about it for me.
All right, you want to close this out? I'm not good at closing things out.
All right, in that case, guys, gals, non-binary pals, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.